ahead and scan the QR code or check out the bit.ly link that we have linked here. I'll give you a little bit more information as we get started on things, but we are at Leland, we're going to be hosting and sponsoring a software engineering recruiting bootcamp coming up in a couple of weeks. It's going to be really incredible value. I'll talk a little bit more about it as we dive into the presentation or the meet today. But we're going to have a giveaway. So learn a little bit more about this. Click here and or open the link, scan the QR code, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the giveaway and what the information that will be contained in this bootcamp. We'll give it a couple minutes while people file in for the event today. All right. Okay, we're going to get started so we can maximize our time here. Time tends to go pretty quick on these events, especially in the setting that we're going to be in right now, where I'm going to be answering your questions. Hopefully you all have some good questions ready for us. To start out, I will just give a little bit of a brief background on myself, what we're going to be diving into today, and a little bit of information on this bootcamp as well. So welcome to our event, Office Hours, How to Break into Software Engineering. I'll be your host today. My name is Zando. I am the CTO at Leland, co-founded Leland about 3.5 years ago. Have some experience at a number of other startups, as well as some big tech companies in the past, and am more than happy to talk about that experience and share my insights and thoughts on what it takes to get a job at these places, as well as how you should be thinking about the job application process and considering opportunities for yourself. So the gist of the meeting today, or the time that we're going to spend together, is going to be an open Q&A. For facilitating that Q&A, instead of having people vying for time on the audio, we'll probably have everybody just submit your questions in the chat, in the meeting chat, so we can get started with that. Before we jump into answering any of them, let me tell you a little bit more about this bootcamp. So we are hosting a software engineering recruiting bootcamp that is starting in 2 weeks from today. So the start is February 13th. It'll be taking place over a course of 2 weeks. And this is a cohort-based course. So all the people that that sign up for this is a small group environment. You'll have access to coaches, Leland coaches, some of the top coaches in the world for software engineering that will be running this bootcamp. If you sign up today, we are going to be doing a giveaway for one lucky winner that is attending this meeting today. So go ahead and follow through to this link down here and enter the giveaway for a free ticket to this bootcamp. The sessions that we'll be going through in the bootcamp, everything you need to land your job. This is exactly what I wish I had when I was back doing my initial software engineering recruiting. It's kind of the one-stop shop to get you everything you need to get the job, to break into software engineering. Some of the sessions we'll cover: getting the interview, resume and networking strategy. After that, behavioral interviews, crafting and delivering your story. Technical interviews, programming, screening tests, HackerRank, LeetCode, systems and platform engineering. Learn some frameworks and approaches to help you stand out on systems or platform engineering technicals. And then office hours with a top software engineering coach. So there's a lot of value that's included in this. 8 hours of live expert instruction. We have values for each of these things that's included in this. We offer discounts through the boot camps. Every attendee to these boot camps will get a 30-minute mock interview with a top coach. You'll have access to Leland Plus, which is our content library, our subscription offering for our content library. That is prep materials, documents, courses, example resumes for getting into software engineering. All in, that's about a $2,600 value. We offer this for $11.99, but tonight only, outside of the bootcamp giveaway winner, tonight only, if you sign up for this course, the value that we're going to sell this at is $4.99. That's a $700 discount. So massive savings if you sign up. Remember, that is tonight only. Here's the link again for you to enter to win your free entry into this bootcamp. All right. Okay, we're gonna just dive in now to the Q&A. Feel free to just start adding your questions here in the chat, and then I will be picking them out and we'll go through and answer them that way. As they come to you, if something's not getting answered, keep asking, but I will go through the chat and be sourcing questions from there. First one coming up from Raj. Companies have different tech stacks. There are so many out there. Do I need to create projects using the tech stack in the job description for each job with a different tech stack? Let me tell you the way I look at this from a hiring standpoint. I think if the job I'm hiring for has a very unique tech stack, then probably a higher likelihood that I'm looking for engineers who are great in that tech stack. Imagine if it's Haskell. If this is a Haskell shop, then I probably want engineers who are using Haskell. Majority of shops are going to use some sort of kind of default tech stack. Common backend languages. You have Java, you have Node, you have Python as popular languages. For front-end frameworks, you're going to be looking at React, Vue, Angular. There are probably a handful or a smaller subset of languages that would be used by larger companies that are looking to hire. I don't particularly care if a candidate has experience in the exact tech stack that I'm looking to hire for. We have chosen our tech stack to be relatively widely used for that exact purpose. I want people to, have experience with it to some degree. But I also believe that if you're a talented software engineer, you're going to be able to learn whatever you need on the job and adapt, whether it's a new framework, a new language, as long as you are proficient and comfortable and able to do whatever you need to do in a given modern programming language, then I anticipate and expect that part of the job is going to be ramping you up in our exact stack. So I don't think there's an exact need to learn or show proficiency in a company's exact tech stack most of the time. Instead, I think there is a need to show proficiency in the languages that you do know and be able to prove yourself that you have the chops and have the technical know-how and capabilities in the languages that you have spent time learning. I think it's very common also for companies to ask programming questions in particular in a relatively language agnostic fashion and say, you feel free to choose the language of your choice, wherever you're going to be most comfortable, what's ever going to show off your skill set the best. So no, I don't think you need to necessarily try and fake your way or pretend that you have deep knowledge in a company specific tech stack. I do think it's a good idea to study up on it and get acquainted with it, just as it is to get acquainted with a company before diving into an interview process with them, but certainly not a prerequisite for getting a job with a company in a foreign tech stack. All right, coming in from Subin. Computer science is so diverse, and with AI, I always feel that I am not ready and always attracted to trends like AI/ML these days. What is your suggestion? That's a great question. There are so many exciting things going on in software right now. The AI revolution is incredibly exciting. I think it's changing the job day to day in a lot of beautiful ways. My opinion is that AI is definitely not taking away these software engineering jobs, just like cloud computing didn't take away software engineering jobs. It is augmenting and changing things, and the job itself will be different, but it is not taking away from the core job itself. And that's also outside of working directly on an AI product, as an example. There are going to be plenty of products that are not directly AI products, that are influenced by AI, might have AI features, but that's not actually building AI models themselves or working directly in that. So I don't think that's necessary for you to be on the cutting edge or the latest trend. Crypto was a huge trend for a long time, or Web3, and has somewhat fallen out of favor in terms of the sexy thing for software engineers to be working on right now. AI, I don't see as a fad. I don't think AI is going away, but you definitely do not need to be 100% entirely focused on AI or ML in order to get a job. If that's of extreme interest to you, then yes, of course, go for it and study more there. But no, you certainly do not need that in order to get a job in software engineering. All right, next, Rohan, what are some common mistakes you see junior engineers make when applying for jobs? Yes, so I'll say the biggest mistake that I think I see is people using kind of a spray and pray approach. Most companies will have an online portal for job applications to say, hey, if you're interested, there's our job listing. You can click here to apply. The unfortunate reality is that there are much more poor quality candidates coming through those portals than high quality candidates. As an anecdote, I was hiring for some software engineers recently, had a job listing up. Within a couple of days, I had hundreds and hundreds of candidates that had applied online to these roles. Not that that's a bad thing, but think about this from my end. I'm the sole person looking to hire, screening all these resumes and going through all this. If there's a mountain of 500 resumes to go through in one day, chances are unlikely that you're going to stick out that way. Thinking about the highest quality candidates that ended up coming through, they came through referrals. That was through people that were currently on our team, through previous connections of mine. Somehow people were able to find a way to stand out from the crowd and to show up differently than the kind of mass onslaught of online applications. That's not to say that online applications are bad. I think, especially at the larger tech companies, the FANG companies and the big guys, there are a lot of automated systems in place to kind of ingest that kind of data. But if your sole strategy is to just throw your resume out to as many online applications as possible, chances are not very likely that you're going to find the job that you want. Okay, coming here to Rohan, kind of a follow-on to that question. What's your take on cold outreach to recruiters, employees at a company you're applying to? Have you seen it work effectively? And what are other ways to approach getting referrals? Great questions. I think that probably the most important thing that you can be doing for your career is networking, is working on your network, working on your personal network. And I think there is definitely a right way to go about that and a wrong way to go about that. If you are reaching out to somebody and it feels very one-sided of, hey, you are in a position where you can do something for me and I'm looking to exploit that, that's not going to feel genuine. The other person is going to see through that and is probably going to be less interested in, striking up a genuine relationship that way and then in the end referring you. And that's not always the case. Sometimes companies offer referral bonuses. And so, people will be willing to throw a referral out there. But that's not the best way to go about it. I think the best way to go about networking in general, which then leads into these the referrals and getting better shots on goal at the job opportunities out there, is to come from a place of genuine interest. Look at somebody who is in your network or adjacent to your network, a connection of a connection, a friend of a friend, anything like that you can reach out to and say, hey, you're in a spot that I'm super interested in. I'm curious to hear your story. How was your application process? How did you get into this job? If there's one thing that is common to majority of people, it's that they enjoy talking about themselves. Reach out. That's a way to be genuine and say, hey, I want to hear about your journey. Tell me about how you got to where you are. You're where I want to be. What can I learn from you? And I think that's more of a genuine way to start up a relationship and kind of organically grow this network, which can then feed into better opportunities and more referrals coming through. Once they get to know you, you're on their radar and they can say, oh yeah, this is a person who is bright, They seem super hungry and interested and wanted to do something. So that's a great way to go about networking process. The other thing, back on the cold outreach side of this question, I think there are a number of ways that a candidate can stand out. I don't think cold outreach is a bad strategy. I think obviously if you believe that you are a fit for the job, and this is not going to come off as a spammy thing, I think there are a number of ways that you can do cold outreach that can feel genuine. If you look at recruiters in specific, their entire job is to place high quality candidates in their company. If they're working directly for a company or for a headhunting service in the companies that they're contracted out to, they want to find high quality candidates. If you are a high quality candidate, there are a few ways that you can get on their radar and say, "Hey, look at me. I'm somebody you should think about for placement in these positions." That probably requires having the prerequisites in place, having a good resume, having projects, having experience, having the things that would make you a standout candidate if somebody were to then look at your resume. But being able to couple that then with a targeted outreach message, not just a cold blast saying, "Hey, I'm interested in a job. You're offering jobs. Give me the job there." But instead saying, "Hey, I've done this research. I know this about your company. This is why I'm interested. This is why I feel like I could be of benefit to you." And instead sending things out that way. I definitely think that cold outreach can be a strategy to get introed or to stand out amongst a crowd of resumes in an automated setting like that. Okay, question here from Subin again. What is your suggestion for creating a standout resume? I think, thinking about what I had just said about applying and doing the spray and pray strategy of throwing resumes out there. That's not always the best way to go about it, but the things that are important to see on a resume are going to be common regardless of the application strategy. Whether you are coming through a referral or a recruiter reaches out to you, whatever that is, you're going to want to have your resume standing out and looking polished. What that is going to be depends obviously on the person. You each have unique experiences, background, education, whatever your story is that is unique to you. That should be apparent in your resume. I should be able to look at your resume and see, oh, this person is qualified for these reasons. That might be different depending on the person. If you have a degree, a computer science degree from a top university or any university really, I should be able to see that. I should know how well you did in school. If you have the good bona fides there, if you got good test scores, good GPA, track record of success of hard work and getting things done. If you have work experience, I want to see that highlighted. If you don't have any of those, then highlighting project experience could be great. Highlighting a personal portfolio could be a great way. One of the things that I think is kind of an unsung way of really standing out here as well is getting involved in open source work. Oftentimes, you're going to have open source projects that are running the internet. We are all reliant on open source frameworks, technologies, packages, libraries, whatever they are. If you have one that you are particularly drawn to, find out how to get involved, how to be a contributor. They're often looking for people to help out. This is often a labor of love. People don't get paid for this oftentimes, and want people who are passionate and capable to help out with contributing and maintaining and improving the software that they are presenting, the library, the package, whatever it might be. That's a great signal, I think, for somebody looking at a resume. I want to see that you are passionate, that you are involved, that you have what it takes to be good in this role. If you haven't got the experience or the internships or whatever it is ahead of time, to pass that bar, then open source contributions, I think, are a great way to kind of solve that cold start problem or chicken and egg problem of needing experience in order to get the experience that you need on your resume. Open source contributions, I think, are a great way to look at for adding things and supplementing what should already be on your resume as well. All right. Any other questions coming through? Rohan, looking at this one here. In today's landscape, what distinguishes good projects from great ones? I think if I'm looking at a person's portfolio in kind of a setting of looking at the projects that they've taken or completed or taken on and worked on, I would much rather see something that solves a problem for them, that is built for a purpose, rather than another to-do app clone or some other project that was built because that's what you do or that's what you learn at a boot camp. I'd rather see you solving a problem for yourself and saying, hey, this is something that I face every day and it bothers me, so I'm gonna go and build something. I would much rather see something that has that kind of an angle to it, building software with purpose as opposed to just building software. I think building software for the sake of learning definitely has a place here. Learning, if you're looking at a new framework or a new language, whatever that is, building a project is a great way to get acquainted with that and to start learning. But I think great projects come from solving a need. At the end of the day, that's what being a software engineer is. You are problem solving. You have a skill set that is programming, writing code, and developing products that are solving needs. And I think showing that in your projects, in your selection of projects that you have chosen to work on in your personal time, I think is a great signal for somebody looking at your portfolio. All right, Nimran, looking at your question here. As a student, what are the best ways to gather and execute ideas on projects and also landing a summer internship? Great. Yeah. So doubling down on what I just said about which projects I think are impactful, look at things in your life. How can that be solved or improved, or how can you alleviate that pain point through software? Build a project that answers that. If you don't have pain points in your life, look at people around you. Look at situations around you. Is there something you can do that can help people, that can help to solve a problem or improve a process? Whatever it is that's there, go for that and build a project that way. Another way as a student that I think is a great way to start getting involved, and this is probably a very common problem and something that majority of people run into at some point, is what I mentioned earlier, the chicken and egg problem of, I need experience on my resume in order to get an internship, but I can't get the internship that would be that experience line on my resume. So how do I kickstart this process? How do I get through there? I think there are a number of ways that you can go about this. Building out your portfolio, building projects, doing open source contributions that I think are all great ways to get started. If you're a student, you also have a big resource at your disposal or available to you, and that is on-campus jobs. If you're at a university, your university is going to have an IT office. Every department is going to have a need for some kind of development projects. There are plenty of student jobs available. That could also be being a TA, being a research assistant. There are plenty of ways to get involved as a student. Professors have the understanding that they're going to take on students who are not, fully developed software engineers yet, but are capable and are talented. That's a great way to get started in the process and say, hey, I'm going to take on this student internship or TA job or research job as a way to kickstart my experience level. So then the next time when it comes time to applying for summer internships, you've got something on your resume to say, hey, I've got this experience. This is how I am. This is how I'm going to prove that I've been past the hiring bar before and I'm worth taking a second look at in this opportunity. I think that's a great way to get started. The other thing that I'm going to say too, that's just kind of a common thing across all of this, whether it's personal projects, whether it's being involved at your university, whether it's being involved in open source projects, the biggest positive indicator, I think, for somebody on the hiring side is seeing somebody who is actively involved, who is doing things. I think the more things that you're doing, not as in spreading yourself thin and just trying everything under the sun, but actively involving yourself and furthering your learning and furthering your education and experience levels, I want to see somebody who is actively engaged in that, who is taking interest in development as a vocation, as a profession. I want to see somebody who is involved in their own personal projects. If they are not currently employed, then you should be working on something. You should be working on a project that is, for one reason or another, important to you, that solves a pain point for you. The more that you can be doing things and moving forward and developing that personal momentum, the more surface area you're going to have for good things to happen, for opportunities to arise that'll be attractive to you. And you know, in turn, you're going to be more attractive to somebody who has an opportunity to offer, who has a job to offer, who is looking to fill a role, anything of that nature. I think the two biggest things that I would say are, number one, get involved and be doing things, and number two, focus on networking. Explore those connections that you have. If you feel like you don't have connections, then explore the connections that you do have and see who people know, and start expanding your network incrementally as you go on and on. That is going to pay dividends for the future of your career. And there's really no wasted time, I would say, on networking. Great. We've got just about 4 or 5 minutes left here. Probably have time for one or two more questions. All right, let's go with the new question here from Arindam. What would be the best way to transition into software engineering from operations? This is a great question, and not an uncommon one. I think it's very often that people get involved in a company or in in the technology sector and then realize, wow, I really feel like I'd rather be over there and focus on building things. Number one is going to be, this is going to be common across anywhere. If you're starting brand new, if you're trying to transition, whatever it is, you're going to need to build up your skill set. You need to somehow get educated. I think if you look at, you know, traditional ways of building up your software engineering skill set, there are a few main paths. There is a university education, there's boot camps, and then there's just 100% self-guided self-study. Each of them are great. Each of them are great options. And I think the common thread through all of these is that self-study needs to be a huge focus, regardless if it's a university or boot camp or solely self-study. You're going to have to, you know, take an interest in yourself and spend time outside of structured learning time to learn and get the skills that you need. If you're in, you know, currently employed in an operations role and wanting to move over to an engineering role, you're going to have to spend time after work honing your skills, building up your portfolio, building up your bona fides to see or to be able to show somebody that, you know, even though you've been working in a separate field, you've also been putting in the time and have the skills to succeed as a software engineer. If your company itself has software engineers, you know, as a function at the company, that's probably going to be your quickest bet and most surefire way of handling this transition is to transition internally from within the company. That said, it's not going to be possible unless you already have the skills and have been working on them and are able to show people that, you know, you've got what it takes to be a software engineer at that company. But that's going to be a good way to get started is build up your skill set and then look to transition internally and start raising the questions there of hey, can we, you know, start doing maybe a project here, project there, but I'd like to transition over to this role. I think keep in mind that companies are looking to hire the best people. They're looking to hire the best software engineers. If they already have a relationship with you and they like you and feel like you're a competent and talented worker, and then they realize that you can also be a technical asset to them, they're going to be very interested in that, obviously, for for both employee retention and also filling a need for them on the technical side. Okay, great. Thank you again, everybody, for joining. Let's jump over here and finish this up and send out our giveaway. Amanda just posted in the chat. Our giveaway winner is Ruby S. I'm not going to pronounce that because I would not do well at that last name. Ruby S is our giveaway winner. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you at the Software Recruiting Bootcamp. We'll be sending you an email with that. For the rest of you, here is one more invite for you. Come and join the Recruiting Bootcamp. I think it's going to be a really beneficial offering for you. If you're interested in getting matched with a coach and working separately with any of the coaches on Leland, feel free to reach out, check out profiles that we have on the platform, and we can get some more tailored and more personalized help to you that way. Thanks again for joining tonight. I appreciate you all showing up. Have a great evening, and